deal for her getting up on the stand for 18 days?
Well, she had to testify on a self-defense case. There was no way out. She had to get up there. But 18 days of just brutal testimony, and I got to tell you, to me, the prosecutor is so annoying. I'm turned off by him, so I can't listen to him. He doesn't know how to phrase questions. He's a bully. He badgers. He doesn't let the witnesses finish. He's just all over the place, this guy. But in the end, this woman is a very, very dangerous person. Do I think she premeditated to kill Travis that day? You know, she's no dumbass. She is a pretty smart person. You can look at her command, her vocabulary. She gets up there and is able to communicate. She's too smart to have just left that type of crime scene in place like that if this was premeditated. I think she snapped. I think the combination building and smoldering inside her, coupled with the fact that he's got this new body, he's going away to Mexico with a new girl, he's not going with her, and then, you know, the camera thing or whatever happened in there that turned bad between them, I think she snapped. And that should have been the defense. And they didn't go with that. They're going with this insanity, crazy self-defense claim. They put their expert up on the stand who just got decimated today and yesterday. I mean, the jury is just... and, you know, the jurors take it adversely against someone when they put up a witness or an expert like Dr. Samuels, who's up there now, because his testimony is just so preposterous, and the jury will get a jury instruction that just because they put an expert up there doesn't mean you have to believe the expert. No one's going to believe this guy. He's just clearly a paid, hired gun, and I mean, he based his report on lies that she told him, and then when he found out they were lies, he didn't amend the report. He just added an addendum, but he didn't amend it. I mean, that's just brutal. I mean, that is just horrific. But I think she snapped. I don't think it was a plan with the gas cans, stealing her grandfather's .22 handgun and going out there to shoot him. If she did, I think she would have blown him away when she walked in the door, cleaned it up nice, and been out of there. She stayed with him, and the crime scene was just so violent and so vicious, and she snapped. And, you know, unfortunately or fortunately, I think this jury's going to come in bad for her. I really do. I don't think there's any sympathy. People are talking 19 days on the stand. They got to know her. They got to feel for her. I don't think so. I think they got to hate her. And
well, I agree with you, Richard. I think they, by the very questions that the jury asked of her, which is unusual. We never get to see jurors ask questions.
Never seen that before.
Of somebody testifying, but their questions were very much. You know, I would say pointed and aggressive, and you know they weren't going to let her get away with her song and dance on that witness stand, and that was clear in the questions that they asked. They were, you know, they were aggressive. They were, but I also want to say, as much as people do not like Juan Martinez style, and I have to agree that, you know, he does come off as somewhat scattered, but more than that, very unpersonable, perhaps is the way to put it. You know, he's too rough on any of these witnesses, even
and that can hurt him, by the way.
Yeah, that can hurt him. Even on this goofy, you know, guy for the last few days, this
Richard
Samuels, who is this so-called post-traumatic stress disorder expert who has no seems like he's not operating in reality. If you ask me, I've never seen an expert witness this bad since Scott Peterson. But nonetheless, you know, Scott Peterson, they put up a defense expert witness that finally turned around and said to the prosecutor, "Would you give me a break?" He had all the times wrong and the days wrong and the tides wrong, and oh my God. In any event, one thing that Juan Martinez has done right, is using her own diary entries to against Jodi, and in particular that he showed that she never mentioned this alleged abuse, which of course is her whole defense, which I agree with you how stupid it is to say that it's self-defense because he's abusing her. She never mentioned the alleged abuse at all in any of her diary entries, yet at one point she reads an entry in which she says that Travis made her, quote, sick. It made her sick after she went to his house and saw him kissing another woman. So, you know, and I'm quoting for her diary here, I don't understand it, and at times I have a hard time believing it. He makes me sick and happy, makes me feel sad and miserable, and makes me feel uplifted and beautiful. I shouldn't be wording it as if he makes me feel those things. It all originates from within, and all of my darkness is fruit of my own creation. It originates within. This is Jodi's own words. She is admitting she's creating the darkness. She's the one with the dark thoughts. But if he makes her sick, if it makes her sick to be around him, to see him kissing another woman, and she writes about that, you think she wouldn't have written that he had hit her? Or that
well, she says she wanted to protect him in case this was ever made public. She wanted to protect him. And she's clearly obsessed with him. I mean, there's no question about it. And look, it's tragic. This man should not have been slaughtered the way he was. He should not have been killed, period. But this was no saint. I mean, this guy also, I mean, he tweaked her good. He definitely treated her like a piece of garbage. No question about it. And she just kept coming back for more. And he knew she would always be there. And, you know, this whole religious thing here, when these people get involved in these cult-like religions, and that's, I think Mormonism falls in that category, he became some sort of elevated person in that religion. He baptized her, so she looked up to him, you know. That whole religious aura surrounded everything. I think the defense could have done something with that more than what they've done here. And at times, Nermi, he appeared nauseous, just dealing with her and asking her questions, and she was almost fighting with him. I mean, you know.
She is very articulate, and I have to agree with Richard on the point that if she had really wanted to premeditate, and if this were a premeditated murder, she would not have rented a car, which would track her, you know, be a matter of public record. The fact that she borrowed gas cans from a friend probably means she was watching her pennies, and if she wanted to hide her trip, you know, again, she wouldn't have borrowed from a friend. She would have paid cash from them in a store with no cameras. So she's smart enough to have known that, you know, certainly she got there, and I don't think that anybody has really talked about the fact that Travis was on edge when he realized that Jodi was, you know,